Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Fuente and Marifel present Meet the Professor. Hello, world.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Today, I would like to welcome a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, no other than Miss Lissette Perez Carrillo. Lissette, welcome to the show. It's a huge honor having you on today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, although you all do know, Lissette is the daughter of the one and only, the master, the cigar guru, Senor Ernesto Perez Carrillo, and a very, very, very good friend of the Professor Jose Blanco. Please help me in welcoming Lissette.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Professor, turn on your mic.
Yeah, so
There we go.
It's the age. It's the age.
It's the age, yeah.
So today it's a pleasure to have Lissette here. I had the 3 great years with her, with her father, with Ernie, with Dave, all the people on the show. Oh, look who popped in, and he's not late today. And to me, Ernesto, which I've known for about 22 years, when the opportunity came up, it was great. I learned a lot. We had some, how would you say, would come a time where Ernesto would make the blends and the blends were ready to go, and then we would smoke it and we all like it, and still Ernesto would say, I still could do better, but that'll be later on. Lissette, growing up in Calle Ocho, still, before I started to work with Ernesto, and then working with Ernesto, so many people remember this 12, 13, 14, 15 young girl in Calle Ocho doing whatever had to be asked by her, just helping Ernie, the Rollers, Elena, and everybody. So how was it, growing up there in Calle Ocho in that environment and all that?
Well, I mean, I guess it was always kind of like just my second home. So for most people, they might walk in there and be like, wow, this is kind of strange for a little kid to be running around here. But it was always my second home. I remember going there as a child, very young, and, putting on the cigar bands. That was one of my favorite things to do with my mom. And I also remember the first, I guess, time that the computers, the first Apple, I had my dad got an Apple, and he's kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. What is this? And I remember being 11 years old and walking to the factory. We lived about 6 blocks from the factory, and I remember walking there and inserting all of the customer names, and it was always a great pleasure. I used to love the humidor. It was much smaller than the humidor we have now, but I loved that humidor. The smell, the Gloria Cubana with with the picture and the beautiful art in the boxes. I mean, as a kid, that was always something that was fascinating to me. And then, as I grew up, I know a lot of Cuban words that I might not otherwise know if I didn't grow up in that factory, listening to the Rollers, who were kind of like my second family. And, so many times, these words were, like I could be sitting around a group now and I could say, oh, I know what that means. And, just learned a lot, and listening to them talk. It's almost, like I said, it almost felt like just, it's kind of like some kids go to the park, I'd go to the factory. So it was a wonderful experience for me. And I got to work there. I actually stayed home to go to college locally just so that I could keep working there. It was right around the time that the first Cigar Aficionado, a big story came out on us. And obviously that changed our lives. And I stayed. And then right before I left to law school, I kind of, when I was applying to law school, I had to make the decision of whether I would stay here or go. And I couldn't pass up the opportunity to go to New York. And I think my dad was secretly okay with it because, typical Cuban dad, he was staying in Miami, I think. just because his daughter was here. So interestingly enough, when I left, he actually went and set up the factory in Dominican Republic, which was very much necessary at that point. I remember some of the cigars being on back order for a year and a half. I remember the torpedo. It was just a wonderful experience to have lived. And then now, looking back, I can appreciate it even more. So it was wonderful. And people told me stories all the time. Oh, I remember you when you were a kid, just running around the factory. And there's some just great stories. I met, when after the story came out, I met some celebrities. They come film here in Miami, so that was always fun as a kid. Wondering what celebrity's gonna come and want to meet my dad or want to smoke one of our cigars. So it was just a wonderful experience.
I know. One of the things that a lot of people told me, and you might find it funny or whatever, but a lot of people said that then when you were already 13, 14, 15, like your father always said, Lissette, cuenta el dinero, count the money.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Yes, that was my favorite part. It used to be a little cash register. And he would always say, at the end of the day, I'd have to go in there and count the money. So it was very fun to do that part. And then obviously if something didn't add up at the end of the day, I'd have to figure out what happened. And to be honest with you, this is actually a pretty good story. Okay. Give me 1 second because I have to think of how to say. Okay. So So on Saturdays, I used to go work there, and it was just me and my dad and a few of the rollers. Not everybody was there. And sometimes my dad would always joke to me because I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go walk to the KFC now, and I'm gonna go walk over to the KFC. I'm gonna grab the money from the register." And my dad was like, "Oh yeah, make sure you write that down. Make sure you write that down." Just I went overboard. So we used to joke about that stuff all the time. It was super, super, super fun. Super fun. Just experience overall.
I can imagine. I think Carlito's in the studio. Is the Papo here or not?
Yeah.
Papo's here.
Hey, come on.
Hi, Carlito.
Saluda a tu sobrina. Okay.
So proud of you.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you so much.
Familia.
Thank you so much. I'm proud of you too.
You guys go way back. Okay, let's I know this was show gonna be emotional because I know how close Carlito has your father, and we all talk a lot, and sometimes we go memory lane. Lissette, okay, so how did it feel when the time came, 1999, you, Ernie, the third, Elena, it comes the time when your father has to make a decision to sell the company, which a lot of people said he shouldn't have sold. Other people said he should have sold, but that's a very personal decision. But the other years I've asked Ernesto, I've never asked him, and I will not. So, viejo, tú que estás oyendo, no te voy a preguntar. How did it feel for you, personally, for you?
Let me ask you something because my dad keeps asking me, how does he get in? How does he get into the show?
I send them the page. Go meet
Oye,
the professor.
Lissette,
Yeah.
ni tu padre ni yo vamos a aprender nunca cómo get into the show. Okay?
No.
We got to speak to the younger generation. Jose Blanco, he's the one that got.
Oh yeah.
But
Ernie, go to the page I sent you.
All right. So this is where we intervene. Melanie, will you please explain to the world how to watch the Fuente and Marifel Meet the Professor show?
okay, so I'm on the show now.
If he just wants to watch it, then he can go to our Facebook page, The Professor Show. So it's facebook.com/The Professor Show. And it'll pull up and you can just you'll just see it. It'll automatically, the live will pop up on your screen.
I send them the link.
Well, I don't know if you.
Pablo, that's Miami. It's Miami. They're probably having cafecito cubano, Cuban sandwich. You know how it is. It's Miami. It takes time.
Oh yeah, or he can just.
By the way,
Melanie, get closer to the microphone.
While my niece is reaching out to her father and trying to explain to him, ese cabezón. I wish I could show him, man. I could teach him how to do this stuff. I'm learning little by little. But anyway, I just want to. While she's reaching them, I just want to say I'm in my headquarters. I probably could get a little emotional today because the guest, which I saw her grow up. I love her father, her mother. But besides that, I'm in my headquarters. I'm in my hometown. I'm in the building where I grew up. Today's going to be a great show. Yeah. I'm honored and I'm really privileged to be here and to share this day with this beautiful young lady, so wonderful person.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lissette.
Thank you.
So Lissette, going back to that, how did it feel after you growing up in Los Cerrones de Tabaco and all that, playing around there? All of a sudden, Ernesto makes this, gets this deal and he sells.
Well, at this point, I was already in law school. So the conversation had started while I was still in law school. And at that point, I was already going to stay in New York. So I knew that I wasn't going to be coming back, at least not at that point. And it was a very difficult conversation. My brother was still very young, but with respect to myself and my mom, we both thought it was the right decision to make. And for my dad, he struggled with it for a very long time. And there was, very emotional talks, it wasn't like this big celebration thinking, wow, what a great, success we have here. And, to him, it was giving up something very, very close to him. And we took a long time to come to the decision. And even after that, it was very emotional for quite some time. I would say for years, where he would come home and, I don't want to get into too many details, but I was in New York and he would come home, after traveling to the Dominican Republic. And it's almost like seeing, it's almost like seeing a part of you, just, I guess, not be completely in your hands anymore. So he went through a lot, and we went through it together. And then eventually, looking back, we feel that it was the right decision and that everything that we ended up doing was for the best. And now we're together again for 10 years now in this company, EP Carrillo, which I'm very proud of. And we couldn't be happier. Everything worked out the way that it was supposed to work out. And having I worked at a law firm that was very demanding, many hours. And even after we sold, I kept working there. But one of the most beautiful things that happened to me as a result of this was that I was able to stay in New York and actually move to a different job where I represented neglected and abused children in the courtroom. So it was more of a litigation job. And, even though I enjoyed working at the big law firm, I, wanted to do something more. And it was a wonderful opportunity to have been able to experience that. So I think that everything did work out for the best. And then when my father's time with General Cigar came up, then we all sat together and made a decision and thought, what are we going to do now? And that's how EP Carrillo came about. Me, my brother, and my dad sitting at a restaurant, just figured it out that this was the right thing for all of us.
Yes, I remember after Ernie sold, he would be a general all those years. we would see each other all the time. He'd be working on something, especially on El Rico Habano, and he always said, Jose, I want you to smoke this again. And you know that Ernesto and me and Carlito and Jeremiah were cigar geeks. We breathe cigars, we smoke cigars. It's everything. It's everything for us. Lissette, to me, it's easy to ask you a question because I had 3 great, wonderful years there, great experience with your father.
We did have a great time.
And I remember like the first week already that I was back in DR, you wrote to me, hey, do you miss me? I said, of course, I miss you. I talk with Ernesto a lot. And, I love your father. I love all you guys. I'm going to ask you this. You as a woman in a man's world, what do you see yourself as the greatest challenge?
Well, I think having grown up in this industry gives me, I guess, a huge benefit. Sadly, I know that Cynthia had talked about this too when we were all together at the Big Smoke. Sadly, we do need, at least in this industry, I think it's growing more and more with the more women that are smoking, and the more women that are taking it seriously, like the whole aspect of the women being involved in the cigar industry, and then also the women smoking the cigars, and the women going to the events, and the women communicating with me in social media, through our website, personally at events. Unfortunately, right now we're not doing as many, obviously. But I had that benefit, I guess, of having grown up in the industry. So it's never been an issue for me. It's never been questioned whether my knowledge base, is strong, whether I know what I'm talking about. And I'll be the first to admit that one of the biggest challenges has been the blending, because I'm still trying to learn, what that entails. And I think for women, that's going to be the next big step, is taking it on and saying, hey, I want to learn how to do this, and I don't want to just learn for the sake of saying, I'm a Perez Carrillo and I need to know how to do this. It's because it's what I should do to, live on into this legacy that my father has, and my grandfather, and even way before that, left to all of us. So that's going to be my next 10-year challenge, is to enter into that domain. So, it's hard to say, because I know that some women have been in situations where they've been uncomfortable, or someone's made a comment. That's never happened to me. And every time that I'm asked this question, it goes back to the same. It's all about, I guess, respecting someone that knows, what they're talking about, someone that cares genuinely about the people, who love cigars, who love tobacco, who want to know more, who want to enjoy it. So, like I said, it's never really been a big issue for me. Sometimes maybe the conversation at events, trying to figure out like what to converse about. I could see that happening here and there, but there's always a common element, I think, in cigar lovers. That's the one nice thing about it. Everybody could always just talk about cigars.
That's definitely true. Lissette, in the beginning, Ernie worked a lot with the company, and he's very charismatic. He was out for a couple of years. I know now, still with his own business. He's helping out a lot. And, I like Ernie a lot, not because of Ernesto's son or your brother, but he's very charismatic. People always talk nice about him. But I'll ask you this, how in the beginning, how were your ideas and Ernie's idea more or less going along, or during all these years?
Well, this is pretty funny, because we were working out of like this small office where I was doing my legal work before, but we still didn't have access to the warehouse and to the humidor. So we're working out of this small office, right? And he comes in, he was living in New York. So he was building our customer base and doing, working with, calling out everybody that, had been involved with us, for years and years. And so we're sitting there and we're sharing a desk because there's barely any space in there. And he basically says, hey, okay, so how do we do this? And meanwhile, he has worked at two very, very well-known companies that focus on businesses and making businesses successful. So obviously, I, trust whatever he has to say wholeheartedly, because I'm just, at this point, an attorney. I actually have my own company of buying and selling lots around Florida. So I had some, entrepreneurial, aspirations. And I actually also used to run a humidor company when we had the previous company on 8th Street, which my dad is still waiting for the royalties for that. So I probably owe him a lot of interest and penalties. But anyway, so we start out and we're just talking, and he's like, okay, so how do we do this? Do you want me to do sales, and then you do marketing, and then I don't know, you do financial and legal, and then I could also do, running the sales team, because that obviously takes a lot of time. And I said, okay, yeah, let's just do that. Let's do it like that. And I look back on that, and it's just kind of so endearing, how like these two kids, having lived their whole life in this industry, trying to figure out together, because my dad was in the Dominican Republic. He's blending. So it's just me and him. We basically, all the nitty gritty stuff, was me and him. And that's how we did it. And no, we got along fine. I mean, it wasn't, we tried to each kind of stay and do whatever it is that we were supposed to do, but it all overlaps. But no, I trust him wholeheartedly. He trusted me wholeheartedly. And if I gave him a contract to read, trust me, that wasn't going to go well. So, it was fine. It was a really nice experience. And he still consults with us all the time. So
I know. I've always liked him. He's a fine kid. I mean, both of you, and Ernie to me is like a brother, and to Carlito, and Jeremiah had the old man last year in Dortmund looking at tobaccos also too. So at the end of the day,
what old man are you referring to?
Hey, you want to hear a funny joke? I've told this a million times. Ernesto, I have to say, he took very good care of me, and
of course,
he would always take us out to lunch, or basically lunch at the office. Oh yeah, he would say, "Come on, old man, let's go eat." So every time we would arrive, and I would say to the waitress, "Please take the order from my father first," and they would look at Ernesto, and Ernesto would say to them in Spanish, "Oh, remember who's going to give you the tip?" So he's the old man. Lissette knows all the stories.
Those were good times. How about the Dominican Republic and the Cuatro Leches? Was it Cuatro Leches, or it was Cuatro, right?
Cuatro Leches, yes. Every time Lissette would have to go there, we would have to send Emmanuel Eladio's son to get the Cuatro Leches for the sales meeting and all that. But when I was visiting Santiago,
I had some very good fights over those Cuatro Leches, that's for sure. I remember those fights. The last one. Give me a second. The last one left was always a little battle, and then they ended up sharing it. I'd always get a good picture of that.
Let me ask you something, Lissette, because I asked your father this on the show. How hard? I know the answer because I was there for 3 years. Tell us how hard it is to convince Ernesto changing something, doing something different.
Well, I think that one of the secrets is gaining the trust, right? And then as his children, that's always going to be an extra step, right? Because you always think you know more than your kids, and no matter how much they've grown up or how much they may have succeeded in whatever it is that they ventured to do, you're always dad, right? So at least for me, I think I've reached a point where he trusts me wholeheartedly with my decisions. So it's a lot easier now than in the beginning. But yes, once his mind is made up, it takes a lot of convincing. And some people say though that the secret might be to bring him like something sweet. I remember that being on a list of possible tools that could be used to convince him of something. So we had a good time with that a couple times. There's nothing a donut can't fix, something like that. But it's all in good fun. like I said, he's somebody that listens to people. And I know, especially with the blending, where he comes and he gives everybody like the different blends to try. Jose, you lived it yourself. You know, it's he really does trust what other people think. So that's very important to me, and that shows like his, you know, how humble he is, and that's always one of the best characteristics that I could say to describe him. It's just somebody who's modest, humble, and you know, trust other people, but also trust himself. You know, so that's a good quality to have. And like I said, over the years, it's like a dance, you know, and you kind of just get used to figuring out the steps. And we're doing really well now.
No, I know, and it's been the last couple of years have been great. People are excited on the pledge. They said you've been all over. There's been times in the company where you've run sales, you've run the marketing, you've run the PR, you've done about everything. The money also, because that's always something that you're on top of anybody who's past 30 days or 45 days, which is something we have to deal with. But what is the part that you really, really enjoy? Because I got to tell you something. The part that you have done with the social media, I remember when I arrived there was 2,000 only, and we worked together. When I left, it was like 27,000 followers. I think you're up to 30 on Instagram. So what is really the part that you enjoy the most and have the most satisfaction in your role in the company?
In the marketing. And the marketing, it's the funnest part. And you know, I try to learn from anyone who has, you know, in the industry, who has been in an interview, you know, told their story. But most of all, I go with our identity, who we are. I try not to imitate. I try to stay true to our tradition, to the fact that we're a family company, to our identity, to my father's identity. So I think that that's always very important. First, you're true to yourself, and then, you know, you maintain those relationships with the retailers, with the consumers, and you get to know people through social media, which is one of the components. You get to know the different consumers. You get to know what your retailers need, and it gives me great pleasure to learn this. Being somebody who's done a lot of school, I decided to take a few courses in digital marketing, in event marketing, and all of those things. Actually, while I'm doing them, I get to learn a lot. You know, sometimes you might think it's just second nature, but it's not. It's something that you have to learn. And you know, I'm constantly striving to make our website better. You know, adding blogs. Just trying to help the consumer also understand not only about who we are, but about just smoking overall. You know, how to cut a cigar, how to light a cigar, pairing, what to pair cigars with. We have a YouTube series where we're adding more and more videos now with respect to different topics. So, you know, we just want to connect, you know, with the cigar lovers out there, whether they smoke our brand or not. Is obviously we want them to. But it's about that connection. And I think that that's at the core of marketing is just being true to yourself, to your brand, and listening to your audience and finding out what they need from you and giving it to them, because that's what it's about. You know, that's what we're here for.
Listen, we know that Ernesto, I wrote to him now, he's hearing the show, and I want...
that's great. You got him to connect?
Yeah, well, you know how it is. And I want now at this moment, both Jeremiah and Carlito to send a message to Ernie, because Ernie's a dear friend. So, Jeremiah.
Ernesto, you're watching the show. That's a good sign. What can I say? Well, there's not enough words to describe your family, your heritage, and what you've done for the industry and what you're doing for the industry. You are one of the most genuine gentlemen I've had the honor and pleasure of meeting in our industry. And as you know, I've been in this industry my entire life. When I listen to your daughter speak, I see the same reflected through her eyes and through her words and through her gesture and her manners. well-spoken, gentle lady who has an incredible amount of knowledge and passion, respect and love for what she does. And it doesn't surprise me. Meerapfel in German means the sea apple. And it's a tradition in our family to cherish the apple and to have a lot of symbols of apples around the house, as Carlito knows very well. And there's a saying that says the apple never falls far from the tree. And I think this applies very, very dearly and very, very truly in this case. And I'm very quiet today, and that usually happens when I'm very humbled. So Ernesto, congratulations. And again, respect, love, and you have me humbled for not only what you've achieved through your professional career, but what you've achieved through your family and what you've achieved through the greatest fruit of your life, which is the heritage you're leaving to the next generations. So with my love and respect, I will now pass the mic over to Carlito.
Pablo. Te quiero. ¿Qué te voy a decir con mi nieto? ¿Qué te voy a decir? Cuando te llamaba, cuando era niño, y tú. Y estamos pasando trabajo en los años 70, principios de los 80 o 70, final. But we go back a long time. You're my hero. You're my hero. I think that although we came from two different parts of the world, we united, but we all come from the same cradle, which is our heritage, the love for our family. I don't know of anyone else in this world that understands the vocabulary and the language of tobacco in the words that I was taught and the lessons that I learned. They're so similar to me than Ernesto Perez Carrillo. I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of your children. And just wish you and Elena, the very best in life. And thank you for always being there and giving the very, very best to all the passionate enthusiasts, people who love the leaf, la hoja sagrada, que nace del suelo. Thank you so much for always. Thank you for accompanying me or not leaving me alone and fighting for our values and our beliefs. Thank you. I love you. As long as you're around, I'll never be alone. And for that, I take my hat off to you. I love you dearly. You know me. You're a special human being. And I'm very grateful that God brought you into my life.
Well, I knew that the show was going to be emotional for Carlito because they go way back. Every time we talk about, I learned a lot about Cucho Oliva through your father. And Carlito always remember your father going to Tampa. I can't remember what the little car he had to get 2 or 3 bales of tobacco. So we heard it from your father too when he was on the show. That was a great honor. And I have to say, and I've said it on the show, I consider myself a pretty good smoker. Your father always trusted my palate. We were at the factory of that. He would give me that cigar and I would tell him, Ernie, I think this needs this. Let's go with. He would make me smoke and smoke and smoke. And I have to say it. I said it on the show a couple of nights ago that I was doing. Ernesto taught me something. You learn from everybody, but Ernesto taught me. I knew a lot about wrappers and I knew a lot about fillers. But with Ernesto, I learned, and I told this to Carlito, he's laughing. I learned how much the impact of the wrapper is, the binder is. I mean, it was amazing when we were making blends there.
Professor, Ernesto es tan buena gente. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I had to grab Ernesto. Ernesto, you work your life. Ernesto's an open book. He's a teacher. Don't give all Ernesto's secrets away. I'm first in line. I want to learn. Don't give them all away.
Lissette, one thing that has happened in our industry lately was the ruling from the courts. You as a lawyer and as a business owner, you might have a different way of viewing things. I've said on many, many shows that we just won a battle. There's a lot of people saying, oh my God, this is over. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And what I've said, and I'm going to say it on this show again, I think we have to put a lot of egos aside. We have to unite. But I would like to hear your thoughts on this from as a lawyer, but also as a person that runs a company and owns a company.
So for a very long time, this was affecting me. I would say since the talk first started, and we were particularly vulnerable because we came around to become a company after 2007. So I was concerned. And, as I went along, I started to learn more and more about the regulation. And, more than just the financial impact on our company alone, which had I not been an attorney, it would have been drastic. A company our size would have suffered tremendously. At this point, with the attorney work that has been done, it would have been already over 6 figures. Had we not have been, I guess, as blessed to have an attorney in the company. So I was thinking, Jose, even about like your former company, and we would talk about it. How many people that are passionate about cigars, companies that might be smaller or medium-sized, could have been devastated if this were to have gone forward in full force. So primarily, I'm happy that smaller and medium-sized companies that were able to make it, because there were some people that pulled out kind of early and said, you know what, we're not going to do this. So what's the point of sticking around? Luckily, there were many that stayed the course, and I'm very happy primarily that we survived it. And I think as time went by, one of the things that we would talk about a lot was, okay, well, what are we going to match the cigar with? Every time we wanted to come up with a new blend, we had to consider all of the outcomes. How many do we put in a box? How do we call it? What do we label it? What tobaccos can go in it? So leading up to this, we had actually filed quite a few forms with the FDA. I had been on calls with the FDA for hours. And one thing I will tell you was that they were lost. So to me, it is something where personally I felt responsible for the outcome of our company. And I wanted to try to do as much as I could, for everyone out there that, people would ask me advice. I would be glad to help. The CRA was instrumental in helping us, understand, different factors that were happening at a very fast pace. And we thank them for that because, all of the groups that helped in this battle, all the companies that joined together to help in this battle, I guess were part of the reason that we're able to survive. And like I said, it was very complex, very, very complex regulation. Companies that weren't around before 2007, even companies that were around before 2007, it was going to be, I could say, a nightmare. And I know that leading up to the September date, I was losing a lot of sleep. Because I turned in something and then they'd ask for something else, or they say, no, you need to add this, do an environmental study. How are you going to do an environmental study? My cigar is the same as, you know, a cigar of another manufacturer before 2007. It's tobacco, you know, water. What do you mean an environmental study? Well, we did the environmental study, and I want to thank other people in my company that helped out as well. But we matched all of our cigars to cigars from before 2007, if you can believe it. And it was a daunting task, but you know, should this you know, be something that we're going to have to face in the future? Because as of right now, it's kind of like a, you know, a quiet time. We don't know what's going to happen later. Then you know, I feel that we're very well prepared. We've already submitted, like I said, most of what is required. But yeah, I feel for my fellow you know, cigar companies out there, and I'm here to help. So those people have been calling me all along. I'm here. If there's anything I can do for anyone, you know, just let me know.
Mhm.
The ruling has been good, but what worries me, other people, is I think, we said, to be honest, some people are taking it very lightly. I know you guys were prepared, and both you and your husband Frank, you're both lawyers, so it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that were saved. You made a good point. But what worries me is that I see a lot of people that just think it's a victory, and they forget that with a stroke of a pen, we could go back to all the things that want to go. So what would you say to fellow manufacturers? Because everybody, unfortunately, is, instead of being proactive, they're very reactive. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, if I had to give any advice right now, and it would just be owner to owner, friend to friend, it would be to match the cigars that are manufactured going forward to any cigar um, that was made before 2007, and to, you know, learn about the regulation. I would definitely not be a new company right now and say, oh, it's over, I can just come in and ship some cigars here. I would not do that. I would just be very aware. There's all kinds of dates involved. The 2016 date that needs to be on anyone's mind that is thinking about, you know, starting a cigar company or producing a cigar that wasn't in the market, in the sense of size, packaging, quantities. It's a very technical regulation. So I would just advise people to, you know, not put their guard down, be informed, and you know, take the proper steps to protect your company, because we're not safe yet.
Carlito, you were going to say something.
Lost for words, Jose. No, Professor, no, honestly, what I'm going to say, the thing I always say, I think that this is an opportunity. This is a lesson learned. We know, no Ernesto, no myself, or anyone of the past, we dedicate our lives to make people happy by bringing good products to market. We were not involved with any political aspects or getting involved. That's not the way our world was. We were too busy trying to make payroll and trying to pay the interest payments and everything to be able to survive. But that's the past. But we have to learn from the past and not repeat the same mistakes. We all, if you're in the cigar business, if you're an American, if you're born in the greatest country in the world, or you had the blessing to come to the greatest country in the world, in search of that dream, that American dream, that Ernesto's father, for different reasons, came here, who was the mayor of Pinar del Rio, the greatest growing tobacco region in the world, came here for the freedom of choice, the freedom of life, the freedom, or the dream, the dream, which is that philosophy, that American dream that doesn't have borders. It doesn't begin or end in the Pacific, the Atlantic, or the border of Mexico or Canada. It's that vision, that dream to be able to give your children a better life. And we all, as citizens of the United States of America, have a responsibility to get involved. We cannot cry for spilled milk. If that's said that way, I don't know. But we have to get involved all and unite. We're all one. Big, small, large, consumers, brick and mortar retailers, mom and pops, we're all one. And the only hope that we have is to be one strong, solid voice. And I'm not speaking to Lissette or Ernie Jr. or Ernie the third. And I'm not speaking to my brother, the old man, because he's older than me. He doesn't look older, but he's older than me. I'm speaking to everybody who's listening to this program. Forget the past. Forget who did what, who did not do what. Let's all unite. And let's all defend the God-given right to enjoy a product that is legal and a product that is it represents the discovery of America. Because when they came to this part of the world looking for treasures and riches and spices and everything, what they discovered was the sacred leaf of tobacco. Tobacco, which was the natives' only way to reach their ancestors and God. They liked tobacco because it was religious, because that tobacco went up to the heavens, and that was the communication with their ancestors. Tobacco was used also for social reasons, but it was always also medicine. And those that understand our history, our heritage, where we come from, if we're Americans, somos caribeños, we know our history, we respect our history, we honor our history, and we cannot forget where we come from. We're all one, and the future is very, very bright if everybody understands this message and we unite. It doesn't matter. You don't have to give a lot of money. I know that money is important because in government and everything, you need resources to be able to get your message across. But sometimes it's easy as pushing a button on your cell phone and sending a message to your representatives. We all have to participate and we all have to unite. That is my message.
Amen.
Lissette, we're going through tough times with COVID. Technology has allowed us to do a lot of Zooms, a lot of Skype, a lot of WhatsApp, a lot of Instagram Lives. I know you, your dad have been on a lot of them, and we're all doing a lot of that. I'm doing that, I don't know how many. On Friday, I had 3 of them all together. But how do you see the industry with all that's going on right now? We still have to deal with regulations, FDA, taxes, smoking bans. How do you see the industry, let's say, for the next 3 years?
Well, I think that we're going to continue to face challenges. I think that, like Alito said, if we unite and stick together, that we will continue in this wonderful, I guess, heritage in a way of the cigar world. We've been around for a very long time, and I think that we're going to continue to be around, and we just need to fight it step by step. And it's a war, I guess, in a way, but we're winning battles, and little by little, I think, and I hope that we're going to be fine. I have to be optimistic because that's why we wake up every day, and feel like we're gonna be okay. And I truly feel that we're good people. We're passionate about what we do. This is something that came to me from my family, and I'm not gonna just give it up easily. So I want my kids to be in this. I want my nieces to be in this if they want to, obviously. In some way, they're all very smart and very talented. So I'm sure that in our family, we're going to continue this for years and years to come. And I'm ready to fight, I guess, if that's what it takes.
Lissette, I need you.
Okay.
We need you. And I just want to say you mentioned about women coming into the industry. Nothing has made me more optimistic, prouder than to see so many women entering our industry. But this is something that because you know your mom. She was there with your father.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandmother was with your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
They were side by side, my grandmother, my grandfather. The women were always the backbone.
Yep.
And the women, and I want to mention, you talk about big industries. You talk about the wine industry. Some of the greatest winemakers in the world are women. Women have a better palate than men. Women have a better nose than men for aroma. That's a word that your father probably knows that very few people talk about. El aroma del tabaco. The women have a sixth sense. It's the motherly instinct. Women's gonna make this world a better world. And when I look at my children, I see you and your nieces and everybody, and I I just so happy to see so many women finally being able to enjoy a cigar. It's no longer a taboo. A woman can enjoy a cigar. And I tell you one thing, no Grand Havana room, no Club Macanudo, no place. I don't want to go to a place to smoke a cigar with no man like Jose Blanco. I want to go to a place. I want to go to places with the beautiful women. There are women enjoying cigars because half a wheel does not keep rolling, and it's nature. And the greatest contribution, or my greatest optimism, is to see so many women involved in the world of cigars. It's only going to get better. And I take my hat off to you also. You're an incredible young lady. I've seen you grow up. And I don't have words to tell you how I feel and how grateful I am that I am not alone. Your father's not alone. My children will not be alone. And everyone in this great industry have a future for the next generation, because it's no longer about us. It's for the future.
Thank
You're welcome.
you. That means a lot to me. And I almost would like to ask permission to quote you with some of the most beautiful words that have been said, I think, about women in the industry. Do I have your permission here and there to say that you said something very special to me about women and aroma? Because that's something beautiful. And I'd like to share that.
I'm going to tell you what my daughter taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't know how to express ourselves. We get confused. But there's one word that I learned, and I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And with that, I'm gonna answer you. Word, WORD, word.
Got it. It's a deal.
I didn't know what the hell that meant a year ago, but my daughters and everything tell me, "Dad, word. What the? What word? Word, Dad. I learned word." So you, of course, and it will be my honor, and keep selling the love and keep sharing your heart. It's the truth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This has been it's been a great interview with Lissette. We've seen many aspects of it, but one that we haven't touched is events. Lissette, I did a lot of events there. I did a lot of events with you. We had a lot of fun. But now with COVID, we don't know how many months still we're going to be on lockdown and things like that. But let's say maybe March, April, things change. Your thoughts on future events? Do you think the pandemic for the future will enable us to look at different ways to do events, promotions? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's kind of difficult to tell just based on all of the possibilities. If we have a vaccine in the future, if we don't have something that is effective against this, I mean, there's all types of concerns, I guess, and it's very difficult to tell. But at least I think that for the near future, these type of platforms are wonderful to keep connected to others, to consumers, to the retailers, to each other. And I feel that it's too soon to tell, but that we all have to plan accordingly. We have to have a plan A and a plan B. So I hope obviously that for all of our sake, one of the special parts of cigar smoking is bonding. So I hope that for all of our sakes, that we will be able to do events in the future, whether it's virtual events, whether it's outdoor events. We have to kind of figure out what, a lot of people are calling the new normal. What is that going to be? I don't know. I've thought about it a lot, but I don't know yet. But I'm optimistic because, like I said, that's what you have to wake up every day for, and just keep thinking positively. And I think all of us in this industry have our moments where we're moping around for a few days. I mean, it's happened to all of us. There's times where the challenges are big, very, very big, and you just have to keep fighting and kind of sometimes you're even fighting yourself and say, today I'm going to do this. What for? I don't know, but I'm going to do it. And I think that's the way it is for people in general. And especially when you have that responsibility to others, the responsibility in your business. For my father, I know it's a great weight, blending, but his biggest critic is himself. And that's a tough act, to have to follow, in the sense of, all of us support each other. And, he holds, himself up here. And I know me and my brother, we're always there, kind of wanting to hold ourselves up there also. And I think that, with all of our different talents, we've been able to come together and do something very special. And, we want to share it with everyone, but at the same time, obviously, safety's first. So we're doing everything we can. My dad's doing virtual events. I'm doing events virtually, and, we're doing Instagram lives. We're just trying to stay connected. And hopefully, the future will be a safe place, and we can, get back to, those events where we can all connect, the way that it was meant to be.
Definitely. Jeremiah?
Well, it's that time of the day. Lissette,
Oh no.
it's time for Melanie's hotspot. Melanie.
Oh, hi, Lissette.
Hi, how are you?
I have truly enjoyed you more. I think just listening to you. I don't know if I have a question that I really want to ask, but I am curious. Like, how is it? What's one situation, I guess, or story that you might have where your father was like a definite no, and maybe you came out with something that was like new generation, and he was like, but maybe it was just something completely different?
Well, there haven't been too many of those situations. I think that maybe I would say some of the names, Pledge, that wasn't on the top of his list, but I think those are just more like everyday type of, people having different perspectives on something. The generational part, maybe, just getting him involved in social media, but he didn't put up much of a fight, with that either. Let's see. I'm trying to think. There hasn't, I wish I could tell you. I mean, Jose, do you remember anything? I don't, about like a generational gap, or do you remember?
Lissette, Jose's making generational gap even worse, so he's the wrong person to ask.
No, I mean, when he was with us, when he was in our company, was there ever a moment where I don't, I guess
Well,
you say
I gotta,
don't.
well, to be honest, the one was when we started to get him on
I
Instagram.
know of one. Go ahead. But I thought.
When we were trying to get him on Instagram, that I said to him, "Oye, viejo, what are you doing?" Instead of putting Ernesto Perez Carrillo, he put Perez Carrillo Ernesto.
And
Remember? And
it's
then he didn't remember the email or anything like that.
the
So I
past.
would have to sit in my office, which my office was the conference room, because I was smoking all the time, and then show him how to tag, how to do this, how to do that. And it was going back and forth and back and forth. I said,
remember that.
este viejo, I mean.
One moment, please. One moment. Are you telling me that Ernesto had an Instagram before me?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a while.
I think I finally got Lissette. I finally got an Instagram. Finally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Jose last week, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
He's got a lot of followers already too. It's pretty.
Well, I don't know, but I tell you, but
Well, we got 1,000 in a week, so our goal is to have 5,000 by the
no, but you know what's amazing?
At the
It's
end of
true.
the year.
It's a different world. We were worried more about tobacco and this and that, and all of a sudden, we're in a world of. Look, my first computer in my life, I'm in front of it, thanks to my heart and soul, my right hand, Karen R. Smith, who got me a computer. But today I couldn't get on the program. She had to even, she still has to. I'm here. If not, I would have been still calling Melody and calling everybody. Hey, Papa, how do I get on? She had to go. I still can't figure this shit out.
I think one of the other things that I actually thought of while Jose was speaking was that my dad thinks that sometimes like younger generations might not be interested in what he has to say. So I'm constantly struggling with that and trying to help him understand that, beginner smokers have a lot to learn. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, the old man," or only about Jose, but never about my dad.
So we said, you know what? I'm listening to you, and your father and I are very close in age, and you're referring to us like we're like Jurassic Park dinosaurs. We still got a whole life ahead of us.
I know, I agree, and that's what I tell him.
But it's a wonderful feeling when you see your children, when you see the seeds of your tobacco, or the seeds of your family, that you see the passion and everything, how it is passed on from generation to generation. To me, that's the greatest blessing of life. And watching you, listening to you, I'm listening to my own daughter. It's beautiful. And what the hell could I say? You just made me so proud and so happy. And you made me realize that there is hope and tomorrow is going to be better than yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, well, we have another Jurassic Park to pull on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rich Myberg.
Hey,
Rich, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much. Yes, being El Viejo, the oldest broker out there. And just Lissette, I don't think you know this, but I was one of the first salesmen with your company. Ernie 3 hired me to do just 2 states because he had already hired someone to do the other 3 that I traveled. And I've never done a line that did not let me go all 5 states. But when your brother called and said, "Can I take 2?" I said, "Absolutely, I'll take 2." So best to you and your family. I wanted to say thank you to Jose and Carlito. This has been a great weekend. Brenda and I are down here in Tampa, Cigar City, celebrating our 49th wedding anniversary. And as Eric Newman always reminds me that we've spent so many of our anniversary times at CFCs when they were held down in the Tampa area. This has been a great weekend. Carlito, the hostesses at Columbia, can't wait for you to get back in town. They've got some 1905 salads just ready for you when you get back. Did have a chance on Friday to stop by the office and say hello to Liana and your new grand puppy, Bruce. It's beautiful. Greatest little dog I've seen in a long time. What I forgot to discuss with Liana was I was wearing more pink than the shirt that I'm wearing today. And this is October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Liana is always reminding everybody that 20 men wear pink. So everybody keep that in mind. Cynthia, I left something for you with my pal Camilo at the office when you get a chance to pick it up then. Also, the great city of Tampa this coming spring will have an amazing attraction. The J.C. Newman Factory El Rio is still in work, but we were blessed to be taken on a guinea pig tour of the factory, the new museum and everything. And anybody that visits Tampa should visit and see the history of cigar making in Tampa, Florida. What else do I have to say? Oh, aroma came up. Brenda and I have been smoking cigars for a long time, and many times we're smoking in an outdoor situation in Georgia where you're allowed to smoke in patios, and most of the time we'll be sitting and a lady will approach our table and we say, "Oh, here comes the anti-smoker." 99% of the time, the lady says, "Mind if I stand behind you?" The aroma reminds me of my grandfather or my father or my uncle. And we just say, "Please, would you like one? Join us." No, no, I just love the aroma. So aroma is a big part of our business. Uh, I've got a good friend who's a mortician, Saul Cohen, and he was doing an autopsy on somebody, and he realized when he took back the sheet that this guy was hung like a mule. I mean, this was the biggest thing he'd ever seen. So instead of, you know, keeping it at the body, he took it off and took it and wrapped it up and put it in his briefcase and took it home. And he walks into the house and he says to his wife, "Honey, you've got to see this. This is amazing. You'll never see anything like this again." And he opens up the briefcase and unwraps it and says, "Oh my God, Saul Olmstein died." So that's this week's story. Uh, um, best I could do because we had a lady present last week. He and Carrillo was so embarrassed of the story I told last week. I thought I'd keep it fairly sensible this week. So
Thank you very much, Rich.
thank you all for the great greetings on our 49th wedding anniversary. And there's no better place to spend it in the Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. See you all next Sunday, where I may reveal my Halloween costume for this year, but I may wait another week before I do that.
Thank you very much, Rich. And again, happy anniversary to you
Well,
and your wife.
Thank
Lots
you.
of health and love and many more years of happiness.
Well, thank you. 49 has been pretty good, and it'll keep on going. When I talk about age, because Carlito always says Jose's an older gentleman, and I outrank him by 4 or 5 years. So Carlito's just, the little ego in this group. And I'm just pleased to be part of an industry that is all about the people. And if the burritos are on, just let them know that the first one I smoked today was a Casa Cuba, because I know they enjoy that a lot. I'm just running this Opus kind of thing right now. But thank you all for allowing me to come on. And Cynthia, check with Camilo. There's something for you on the desk. Talk to you guys next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you very much.
Great to see you. My Brenda, please.
This has been a great show. Lissette, you know how close I am to you, to your father. I miss you guys, and I wish you the best, the same as Khalid, Jeremiah, everybody here on the show. I've known your father for 22 years. I learned a lot from him. He might have learned a thing or two from me also. And to us, it's been an honor to have you here. We wish you all the best. Regards to Sky, to Frankie, to Elena. I know about her every day, or at least 2 or 3 times a week. I'll talk with your father, then I'll call him up in a while and review to give you an A, a B, or a C. But in my book, you're always going to be an A. So it's always great to see you, sweetie. All the best. And I think Carlito might have some good news for next week. Who are we having next week?
Next week, we have another brother of the family. He's going to be a guest next week, which is a huge honor to have the great Jorge Padron of the Jose Orlando Padron family will be our guest of honor next week. So it's going to be a great show, and we're all looking very much forward to it.
That's going to be amazing. Cool. Well, thank
Wonderful.
you, Lissette.
Lizette, thank you very much for coming on the show. My Wi-Fi is a bit crummy, so you won't be able to see me, but all of my appreciation, all of my love. Stay healthy and well, and it was a true honor and pleasure having you today. I hope we'll be able to be soon together and enjoy a wonderful cigar together. So until then, please be safe. To the rest of you out there, have a wonderful Sunday. We wish you good smokes, good happiness, good safety. And yes, Carlito, try to keep the head on the bobblehead.
Hey, listen, for my daughter Liana and the great work she does for all women, the month of October, pink.
That's right. Carlito,
pink.
you want to explain a little bit, because that's very important. So the month of October is the month of pink, and the pink is the color of breast cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it represents something that's very dear to my daughter. for many, many years, decades, she has been one of the major fundraisers, running marathon, doing everything, whatever. And there's a big challenge that she has to raise a certain amount of money. And well, she lost her aunt. This is public, a beautiful lady at a very young age who left twins and beautiful children. And recently she lost her grandmother. And her grandmother, such a beautiful woman, but not only physically, but such a beautiful person. Her grandmother took care of Liana's grandfather, who has physical disabilities and everything. And but he's, the guy, he's gonna last forever, no matter what. He's incredible. But she refused to have any kind of treatment because she didn't want to see her husband. She didn't want her husband to see her without her beautiful blonde hair. And my daughter has made a promise and a commitment that she's her beautiful, to me, her hair. She didn't get it from me. She got it from the Pinar del Rio part, okay? It didn't come from the Tampeño. We're not. That beautiful wavy hair and everything that goes to her shoulders. If you pull it, it'll go to her waist. She is going to shave her head off publicly if she reaches her target, so she could donate her hair to someone that is facing these challenges. So to me, it's not about cigars. I've said it many times about the people. And I think that's what this beautiful industry is about. This industry is about reaching out to people, embracing them, hugging them, and making a difference in someone else's life. And really, when it's all said and done, that's the only thing we'll take with us. What we leave behind and how we could give and help or do whatever we can. We've been all blessed. We're all fortunate. We all enjoy. We're part of one of the most beautiful industries in the world, of long tradition, directly related to the discovery of America. And we have so much to give. And it's such an honor to be associated with so many beautiful families who give so much to everyone else. And for my daughter, in the month of October, real men wear pink. Thank
Real
you.
men wear pink.
My best in your family. Love you. Thank you very much for a beautiful, beautiful presentation, for a beautiful show. This is a keeper. This will be here for your grandchildren to see.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for having me.
you're very
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sweetheart.
Lissette.
Thank you, Lizette. All right, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of Fuente and Marifel present Meet the Professor. Next week on the show, Mr. George Padron. But until then, stay safe, take care of yourselves and of others. And remember, if you don't do it with passion, don't do it at all. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye for now.